Welcome to the Stateroom Confessionals, round 2.
Round 2.
We are finishing up a 7-day cruise on the Royal Caribbean Harmony of the Seas through the Caribbean. This time we decided to cruise the Western Caribbean. So, yeah, we hit up 3 spots and had 4 cruise days, which is a lot.
Yeah, a lot of time on the boat.
On the ship.
Sorry. You have to start it over now?
No.
No.
We got in a lot of trouble on our last cruise confessional by saying boat, not ship. So I'm going to correct him / myself.
Boat.
Anytime that we say boat, because it's a ship, we have to learn that it's a ship. Okay, so Brandon, what did you think of cruising Royal Caribbean overall / would you cruise Royal Caribbean again?
Yeah, I liked Royal Caribbean a lot. I think it's hard to compare because NCL, we did a small boat. Ship. We did a small ship on NCL, and I think we're just not big into crowds. And so I bet Royal Caribbean doing a small ship would kind of be the same as NCL. So the cruise line was good overall. Are we going to talk about things that bothered us in the cruise later? Because I could bring those up now. There's some things that I didn't like.
Sure. Bring them up now.
No? Okay. The bartenders were garbage. We weren't doing a drink package. We were just gonna do pay as you go. And my brother and my sister-in-law and their kiddos were with us. They had an alcohol package and their experience was kind of the same. But basically, every interaction that I've had at every different level of the ship was very short and just not energetic at all. Every other staff member on here has been awesome, like incredibly awesome. It's just the bartenders were just very short and they just did not seem like they cared at all to be serving anyone. Sometimes it took them forever to get you a drink. It was to the point where I just decided not to even drink alcohol after day 2. I just didn't even want to deal with the bartenders. So that's probably my only gripe really about the ship other than the crowds, but I think we'd get that on any cruise line. So yeah. I think Royal Caribbean was good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So I would say overall for me, cruising Royal Caribbean, especially considering our last experience cruising was on such a small ship, and this was a very large ship, the second largest ship in all of Royal Caribbean ships out there. So I think that being said, I feel like there were so many crowds and so many lines, and to do anything, it felt like we had to get up early to do something, or that we...
Which is fine because we got up early. We get up early normally.
Yeah, but it just like, I feel like don't go to breakfast at like 9 a.m. because there will be a line around the elevators and like just trying to get into, you know, the buffet to eat breakfast, where if you go at like 7:30, there's no line and you're totally fine. The other thing with that too is highly recommend making reservations for any shows that you want to do, because if you're just planning to show up, there is a huge line once again for like the people that don't have reservations for shows ahead of time. So
yeah, you can always make reservations. I mean, they probably frown upon the fact of making a reservation and then not going, but it's probably easier just to make the reservation and then have to wait. And the lines were massive. Yeah. So if you're just gonna try to show up and make it, you probably have to be to the show like an hour and a half early to be at the front of those lines because they get insane. But yeah, I mean, it's just typical. You would expect crowds. There's like 7,000. I'm probably getting that number wrong. It's got to be like 7,000 with the crew.
I think he said 6,700 people.
Yeah, so pretty close to 7,000. Yeah. So I mean, it's just expected. I think at the end of this, we learned the best times to go places. It's hard to figure out initially, but like Hallian said, if you want to go to the Windjammer, you gotta get up early. Otherwise, the lines are as bad as getting into the shows.
Yeah. And then for me, would I cruise Royal Caribbean again? I think yes. I feel like I'm so open to trying all the different cruise lines. I don't really have anything super negative to say about Royal Caribbean, but I do think just overall, just experience-wise, in comparison to our last cruise, being a 10-day long cruise on a smaller ship, the experience was just a lot different. The crowd was a lot younger overall.
On this ship.
On this ship, and there were definitely just like, it felt a little bit more like a party vibe in a way.
Yeah, it was a big family though. It was very family oriented, where the other one was a lot more older people, which we kind of.
I kind of think I like that better.
With, yeah, I think we're old at heart, so.
I work in senior living. Like I just like that is my jam, to just be with the older.
It's a lot calmer and a lot less chaotic. But there definitely was a lot less activities in that one. So
okay, so next question: would you choose a different Royal Caribbean ship?
I would like to try a smaller ship on Royal Caribbean to see if it's the same as NCL.
Yeah.
Because it's like comparing apples to oranges at this point between the two.
Yeah.
I can't really even say. I mean, the only thing I can say is that we never had a problem with any of the staff on the NCL, but maybe it's just easier to get bad staff whenever they're dealing with a lot more people. And I mean, I would be cranky, so I get it. But yeah, I'd like to try a smaller ship on Royal Caribbean to see how that is.
Yeah.
How about you?
I would say kind of same for me. I'd be interested to try a smaller ship, and or maybe a longer cruise too, because I think that might eliminate, I don't know, maybe it won't. I was thinking maybe eliminate some of like the smaller kids and things like that. Like obviously we love kids, we're here with our niece and nephew, and that's fantastic, but I think it is just a totally different vibe.
I don't even think the kids were, like kids in general in this were an issue. It was just,
there's just so many people. Yeah.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with, like, I didn't have any issues with any of the kids. Kids were fine. There's a lot of people. And if you're not into being around crowds, probably not your jam to be on a big ship.
Yeah. So. Okay. And then now we're getting into the juicy stuff. Obviously, we only had 3 days of cruise excursions. But Brandon, what was your favorite cruise excursion?
I definitely have a favorite. I didn't like any of the excursions we did really that much. Compared to the last cruise we did, those ones were a lot better. And I think it's because of where we went. The only one that I actually enjoyed though was the last one we did. However, it had some bad things happen on it. We did the cenotes, which were awesome. And then we did the Mayan ruins in Tulum. I love history stuff, so that was like a huge win for me. It was easy for me to enjoy that one. It's very pretty, very hot, but love that. The only bad thing about that excursion was the boat. That one's actually a boat, probably. The ferry out to Tulum is a 45-minute ride on the rockiest, most seasick-inducing boat you've ever been on in your life, to the point where almost everyone on the second deck threw up. So they had bags ready for everyone. It was pretty rough. And then on the way back, Hallie Ann got a little sick too. She didn't throw up, but she definitely got the seasick kind of feeling.
It's not completely true. I threw up once we got back on the ship.
Yeah, but not on the boat though, like everyone else was. It was literally everyone almost had a bag around us throwing up. It was pretty rough. But other than that, the excursion was great. The only issue other than that would be we wish we had more time at the cenotes. They're very cool. There's a really cool place in Tulum we went to that has kind of like a cenote park, it seems like. And one of them had like an underwater cave thing we swam through, which was really cool. Yeah. And then the other two, they were like, eh. I mean, we had kind of bad weather, but even if it had good weather, the first one was a water park that had, I'm a big tubby, so I can't get on any of the rides they had except for one. There's a 220-pound weight limit, and I'm 285. Probably not after the cruise, but that's where I started. And so we didn't really get to do anything there. And then the other one was what was it called? It was like a beach.
The Maiki
Private Island.
Island Resort.
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't like, it just wasn't amazing like all the other places we went to in the Bahamas. It was kind of a meh beach. And then the snorkeling was awesome, which Hallian did, and she'll talk to you about that. But there's some animals on there, which was cool to see. But other than that, it's just kind of like a so-so island. But that's it for me. Oh, yeah.
So I kind of have similar feelings to Brandon. I kind of have a mashup between two of the excursions. I'm gonna kind of combine two parts. I am in agreement about, I feel like overall going to three different locations and having 3 different excursions, they all kind of felt meh to me overall.
Yeah.
I just feel like
they weren't bad. They were just kind of like,
it was like, yeah, we did that. Like, but I don't feel like anything stood out as being like, oh, that was so awesome. You know, I can't wait to go home and tell everybody about it. It just overall, I was like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it was about.
We're not trying to sound like ungrateful or anything. They were really cool, but like in comparison to what we did on NCL, like the Stingray swim was amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the other things we did there.
Yeah.
It's just, we're comparing to that, so.
Yeah, it's hard being that I think we had such a fantastic trip last year on our cruise that come this time, it's like, it's hard to compare. But again, like we're comparing, you know, a 7-day cruise in a completely different part of the Caribbean to a 10-day cruise in a different area as well. So it's like, it's hard to compare exactly, but for me, I had 2 things that I really enjoyed out of the excursions, and we did the Tulum Ruins and Mayan Cenote. I personally felt like the Tulum Ruins were really cool, but we had an audio guide, and we couldn't hear anything that the guy was saying. The audio devices were terrible. They were cutting in and out, so it made it really hard to understand what we were looking at, and for me, that was frustrating because I also enjoy history. I'm not as much of a history buff as Brandon is, but that was frustrating for me. I think I spent more time being like, I don't know what's going on. What are we even looking at? Than I was actually enjoying the ruins. But the second part of that, going to the Mayan cenotes, those were amazing. We only got to go into 2 of the cenotes, and like Brandon commented, I believe the park area that we went to had multiple cenotes that you could have gone in, and we just happened to go to 2 of them. The downside to that was we were a little bit rushed in enjoying those cenotes. You know, it was kind of like do a jump or 2, get in, and now we have to move on to the next one. And then going into the second cenote, it was basically like you have like a minute or 2 to swim around, and then we're gonna go through the cave. As soon as we get out, we gotta go. So it was a little bit rushed, but I did love that location and loved the experience of doing that. But then, like Brandon said, I'm gonna mention this, the Maiki Private Island Retreat in Roatan, Honduras, they had some snorkeling at the end of the dock, which you had to pay $20 to do, but honestly, it was so worth it. I had a guide that, you know, hooked me onto his little buoy thing and took me to all the best places to see. And I saw so many schools of fish. I saw so much coral reef. That's probably the best like snorkeling experience that I've ever had personally. And obviously, this is only our second cruise, our second time really having any snorkel experience at all. But I would say that that was highly worth it to me. So I'm going to kind of combine my 2 parts of the 2 different excursions and say that those are my favorite. Okay, so next question. Which location would you return to?
Oh, that's an easy one. Tulum. But probably because we've been wanting to go to Tulum for a while. Hallian was wanting to go to it, and I think being there this time made me want to go back now. The place that we went to for the cenotes is there, as we mentioned, and I think we want to make like a trip where we spend like a day there so we can get to all the cenotes. There's like a cool restaurant there, some gift shops and stuff. So it seems like there's a lot to do. I think there was a zip line and like an ATV jungle ride thing there. So it just seems like it's worth it to go back to that for a whole day almost if we can. So Tulum also because of there's some resorts there too. But yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah, and I would agree. You know, obviously the destination for the cruise specific was Cozumel. However, a lot of the excursions were then inland into Tulum. I would also say, though, coming back to Cozumel, because then you're very close to like Chichen Itza, I believe is how you say it.
Chichen Itza.
Chichen Itza.
I thought you said like chicken pizza. They always said it sounded like chicken pizza. That's what the guides would joke about.
But it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. So, you know, I'd really love to return and see that. I feel like there is a lot to do in this area.
We're probably saying it wrong.
And I just think, like, going back to Tulum, like, doing the cenotes, doing the Mayan ruins, maybe again with a small group instead of around the cruise ship you had like 50 people.
And the Mayan ruins, you really could walk. There's plaques everywhere.
Yeah.
So you really could, and that's what kind of what we ended up doing. We didn't have a lot of time though, but there's plaques everywhere. They have it in Spanish and English, so you can go through really on your own and read through a lot of it. But yeah, the Mayan ruins would be cool to do again.
Yeah.
There's one more spot too that I'd like to go back to, if for a cruise destination only, not to travel to. The first one we went to, was that Cozumel? What was the first one we went to? Costa Maya?
Porto Costa Maya, I think.
Yeah.
I always say it wrong.
So that one that we had the water park at, the port is awesome. They have swim-up bars, they have stores for souvenirs, there's food, there's ice cream. We unfortunately only got to enjoy it for like 30 minutes. But if I went to that port again, I would just not even plan an activity. I would just get off the boat and enjoy that. Just because I like kind of like the relaxing kind of swim-up bars kind of vibe. They had like a DJ playing there when we got back. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's literally just right off the ship.
Their cruise port is amazing. Like there is so much to do there, which I feel like is very, like, I don't know, very rare in a way, because I feel like a lot of times you walk around the cruise ports and it's like all the same places that you could go shopping at the last cruise port. But that one actually, it was like there was a lot to do there, which was really cool.
Yeah, it was very open. It was really cool. So that would be a place I would go to again. As a cruise destination, but traveling like outside of it to go to a location, it'd be Tulum.
Yeah. Okay. And then we've got a couple more questions for you. Do you have any tips or tricks for traveling on Harmony of the Seas specifically?
Didn't know either.
Oh. Sorry, I skipped a question. We'll go back to that.
For traveling on Harmony of the Seas, I mean, Hallian listed a lot of them that I think are good. Already, I love eating food, obviously, on a cruise and in my life. So I do not like the lines, and getting up early to go to the Windjammer or anywhere you're going, Solarium, wasn't that bad even later, because it's an adults only area. But getting to those locations and figuring out those times is probably the best tip. Knowing where to be for some of those things, having reservations is really important. And then not doing the my time dining. Kinsey, our sister-in-law. I don't know how that works. It's like, anyways, our sister-in-law. I don't know how the family tree works. But she, we had, this is probably another whole thing we can get into, but we had a bad first couple nights. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't like the experience that she described to us with Royal Caribbean, where they kind of go above and beyond with the service. It's just kind of like so-so service that you kind of get from anywhere. The first 2 nights, Kinsey did a really good job talking to someone on the boat. Ship.
It's a ship.
You can attack me in the comments. Ship. She did a really good job talking to someone and basically just kind of explaining the situation. She wasn't rude about it or anything. I think she just said like, oh, this isn't really what I'm used to experiencing with this. And they have been amazing. Our host, I think Danu and Goosty were our servers. They were awesome. We had the kiddos with us, and the first night we had like, he wanted grapes. The kid wanted, Jackson,
our nephew
wanted grapes, and every day we went there afterwards, they had like a big bowl of grapes for him, and they were making like little origami things for him. They pulled our chairs up, put the napkins on our laps. A totally night and day experience, different.
Yeah.
To wrap it up, basically, reservations is way better than my time dining, especially because you get the same waiter, waitress every time. They get to know you, you get to know them. It was exactly how Kenzie had described it to us, which I would have never put any thought into it. I would have just done the my time dining. But I would highly recommend getting a reservation every night, even if it's an early one like what we got.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine's all around food.
All around
How about
food.
yours?
So, a couple of things I just want to piggyback real quick, just as a reference. Our sister-in-law Kinsey has only really ever cruised Royal Caribbean and is a huge fan of Royal Caribbean. So we had a lot of like hype for this cruise, which I think could be why we were like slightly disappointed in some aspects too, because it was like we were really sold on the experience, and like you had said, like the bartenders were just kind of rude and short with you, and you know, but I would say overall, like there were also a lot of really nice benefits about this ship that I really enjoyed. So for me, a couple of like tips and tricks specific to Harmony of the Seas. If you're a coffee drinker, anything other than just like milk or cream in your coffee, there are a bunch of different places that you can get specialty coffees. Coffee Promenade, you can get it at I'm forgetting the buffet name.
The Windjammer.
The Windjammer, and
importantly,
the Vitality
for free,
Spa, and it's included in the refreshment package.
Yes.
So we purchased the refreshment package, and Brandon chose to buy a few alcoholic drinks just on top of that. Overall, we saved so much money not getting the alcohol package. I personally don't drink very much, so it didn't make sense for me to get it. They do want you, if you are two adults sharing a room, they want you both to buy the alcohol package.
Yeah.
Basically,
unless you have a medical reason why you can't drink, not just a preference, they force you to buy the same. So it was going to be $700 on top of what we had already paid for a refreshment package, and there's no way I'm going to drink $700 worth of alcohol. So it didn't make sense. So that was just a nice, like, I recommend, if you're not a big drinker, if you're only going to have a drink or two every day, and don't get the alcohol package. Because like in the refreshment package, all sodas, waters, you know, I got a couple of non-alcoholic drinks. I got specialty coffees. All of that was included, and we didn't have to pay that extra price, which was really nice. To that point, these things that they make you buy, it comes with it. It's a little refillable cup. I think there's like
it's like specialty weight.
I think it's like an RFID or something. I don't think it's a weight thing, because when you put ice in there, it doesn't affect it. But there's something in here that basically allows you to pour from the Coca-Cola machines. They kind of let you pick from lots of stuff. I thought that was going to bother me. That was like probably one of my biggest gripes hearing about I had to carry a cup around, because at the NCL I was just kind of like, I want a drink, I'm going to go get a plastic cup and fill it up, and then I'm going to set it down and they're going to take care of it. The idea of carrying that around has really bothered me before we get on the boat. Ship. I'm going to do that for like the next 20 videos. But it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Those things are actually really nice. They're really nice cups. They have like a little close thing on them, so you don't have to worry about like spilling them unless you're really doing something wonky with them. Yeah, like you get that, and I like specialty coffee drinks, and I was shocked that they were included. There is a Starbucks that's on the ship that does cost money, but you can literally get the exact same drinks at any of those places that Hallie mentioned, no charge. So if you have the refreshment
You can also get at the Vitality Spa area, or like the gym area,
smoothies.
You can get like freshly made smoothies, protein shakes,
Also
included in the refreshment package as well. So, you know, I didn't take advantage of that, but Brandon did. And I think he was like, I don't even need the alcohol anymore. Now I've got protein shakes. He was all excited.
Yeah. But the combination of the grumpy bartenders and having access to that and the specialty coffees, that was set.
Okay, so I'm going back to the question I skipped earlier. What was your favorite activity on the ship and why?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's anything that's like really high above on the ship. There's a lot of things to do on the ship. That's probably one of the big benefits of having a big one. But for me personally, I loved the gym because I have a membership to Vasa, and Vasa is ridiculously packed every day you go there, and so you can't get any machines. The gym is dead, but there's so much there. They have awesome bikes, awesome weight sets. So if you're big into working out, they have lots of stuff available, easy to get to. And then also just the fact that right when you walk out of the gym, you can go to the smoothie bar and get like a nice protein shake. It's just a good way to start the day on the cruise. So that was probably my favorite part. There are other activities that I enjoyed on the ship. Like there's pickup basketball kind of stuff that we were doing, dodgeball stuff, just competitive things were fun for me.
Yeah.
So.
And I would say there were so many things to do on Harmony of the Seas as far as activities go. You wake up and there's something going on, and you're going to bed and there are still things going on. It's literally all day long there were things happening all around the ship. I think that there were things happening that we didn't even know they were happening.
Yeah, and that was the thing with NCL, there was maybe like 2 things going on at once.
Yeah.
All the time, the same time range, morning till 2 in the morning. Here on this ship though, there's like 10 to 20 different things going on at the same time on this ship that are all like mostly free. So if you want a lot of options and you don't like the typical like trivia, bingo, game show, plays, stuff like that,
yeah,
big ship like this is the one to go with for sure.
Yeah. I feel like they had so many things happening. I personally loved the trivia kind of things. I suck at trivia. Like, if there's 15 questions, I'm lucky if I get 3 right. But overall, I just enjoy doing them and like learning new things. So I like going to the trivia. But they did, like you said, have game shows. They've got so many different amenities on the ship. There's a rock climbing wall. There's the flow riders, there's zip lining to do, there's
when they
slides.
Don't have a ice skating show going on, you can go ice skating.
Yeah, you could go ice skating, you could...
Oh, this is important. We struggled to find this information out. What's free, what's not free.
Mm-hmm.
Rock climbing wall's free. There's a weight limit on it, it's 270. For anyone out there like me. There is, the slides are free, the water slides are free, ping pong's free, basketball court's free, ice skating was free. Really the only things that cost money was the escape room, which I never found, so I wouldn't think I'd be able to escape it if I can't even find it in the first place, because that was on this, right?
I don't know.
Sure.
If it is, I never saw it.
There's a dive class thing that you can learn, you can actually get certified in, that costs money.
They had like certain classes, like learn to make sushi, or
those cost us money.
Yeah.
But there's more things that are included than there are that cost money.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like the obvious things that cost money. But I would just say that was one of the things we struggled to find, because we were like, well, I want to do this activity, but is it going to cost money? Should I really plan for doing that thing? Because it sounds like fun. Like putt-putt's free, but we weren't sure if it was going to cost money. Like I wouldn't want to do putt-putt on the course because it's so small.
Yeah.
If it costs anything. So it's a lot of the stuff. I'm sure Hallie can include it in the description below.
Or if you have questions, ask in the comments, and I'm happy to answer.
Yeah,
as
ask her all about the boat.
The ship. Obviously though, like there is so many activities that I think that is one of my favorite things about cruising on the Harmony, is there are so many things going on at all times. You're never gonna feel bored. I feel like we didn't even take any naps on this cruise. Like, we were so busy, just like wake up in the morning, have breakfast, go to an activity. You were busy even on the cruise days.
Yeah, 3 days at sea on the first part of this, and we weren't bored at all the entire time.
We had so many things to do at all times. It was just, never ending fun, even while on the cruise days. So I think, do I have anything that's like favorite activity? I don't know if I really do, but I would recommend just checking out all the amenities that they have to offer, because there were so many.
Yeah, and it's really kind of just choose your poison, pick your poison. If you like water slides, they're great. I would not recommend the toilet bowl one. It's the one that has like a big opening. It is rough to go down, and then you just get stuck in the inside, and you have to scoot your butt to the big opening. It's really
I didn't try that one, so I don't know.
But the two on the other side, the blue and the yellow one, those are awesome. You go really fast in those. We haven't done the Abyss slides yet. My brother and our sister-in-law did, and they loved it. So we're gonna try to do that probably before.
They also recommended to go on the one on the left. They said it was faster. Yep. So if you like fast slides, go to the one on the left.
If you want the more controlled one, then go to the right, I guess. But yeah.
Okay. And then our last question, is there any cruise gotchas for this cruise that you can think
gotchas. I think we've kind of mentioned a few. Already. Scheduling dinner, food lines, stuff like that. If you want the printouts for the daily thing, you do have to go talk to guest services initially, and make sure that they deliver those to you, because otherwise they're trying to keep it all digital. We only ask for them because it's really easy for Hallian to.
I like having the printouts to reference for you guys, so when you have questions for me, I can go back and be like, I don't remember exactly, and I have my printouts to be able to look back on versus just all off of my memory. So I personally like to have the printouts of the daily activities and everything like that, also keeping in mind what destinations we were at on what days. That's just helpful for me for when you guys have any questions, I can reference back to that. However, they are going digital, and everything is basically on the phone now. So
yeah, you got to kind of mess around with like the filters a little bit sometimes, because you'll be in the all filters, and you won't see everything even though you think you are. And you got to go to the activities, and then go back to the all, and it'll all be there. So sometimes we had to kind of poke around in the app to figure out things that we knew existed. But if you really want to know for sure, the printouts are good. Sometimes they will change things though, so those can't be 100% reliable, but that'd be one gotcha. The other one would just be the messaging on the app is good. Our notifications were going off, but we've heard people don't get that. It seemed to work just fine. There's like a double print that happens when you type, but no one else in the app gets it when you send it.
So that I think that's like a benefit to being on this ship, like especially if you're traveling with other people like we are, where we've got our other family members in a different part of the ship. Even it is nice to be able to have that the cruise app where you can communicate with people on the ship
without paying the Wi-Fi package.
So you don't have to have the Wi-Fi package in order to communicate with the other members of your family or party that you're with while you're on the ship. It does not work once you exit the ship though, so be aware of that, because like day one, our first excursion, we were like, let's meet at the end of the dock, and they rushed them off and made them get on the bus to the water park.
And then we were waiting
at the dock for them, being like,
for like an hour.
We said that we were going to meet here.
I was all cranky because of that. I was like, oh no, they're going to be mad at us because we didn't wait for them, because we ended up just giving up. And we're like, we'll just meet them at the water park. And then they were just already there.
Yeah.
So
just be aware that
all day.
At least the cruise texts don't work off the cruise. So just be aware of that.
When you get off the boat, just make sure you coordinate with everyone before
off the what?
The ship.
He's the reason we got in trouble on our last cruise confessional video, I'm sure.
Whatever. Boat, ship, canoe.
I do have another cruise gotcha though. This little guy right here. This is the Royal Caribbean like cruise band that they suggest that you get. We had to pay $10 a piece for these. And you're just supposed to be able to scan these to buy drinks and to do all, I don't know, whatever you need to do. You can use this like get into your stateroom. So if you don't want to carry around your stateroom card, then you don't have to. However, I found these to be incredibly annoying. I've even been playing it with it in this video. This thing like does not stay on very well. I feel like the watch thing is falling off constantly. They also like, it does, like, in my opinion, having these, they should just be like, oh, perfect, I see that you have the white one. This means that you have this refreshment package. No, they will ask you to like scan this and then be like, what refreshment package do you have, or what drink package? I'm like,
I think they would have done that even if we brought the cards though, so I don't think it's the watch.
I don't know. I just thought that like these were like an extra cost, which I didn't feel necessary. We also had experiences where they asked us for the stateroom card anyways. Like today we actually went to the Vitality Spa and got massages, which was awesome. I recommend. However, they still wanted a stateroom card. Where my understanding of this prior to boarding was it was supposed to be like you don't need to carry your stateroom card anywhere while you're on board. It's only when you're leaving the ship and getting back on the ship that you'll need it. But I felt like we still needed it while we were on the ship a few different times. So
I think Hallian's looked very critical of it, mainly because this thing kept popping out for her. I didn't have that issue.
I don't know.
So
I think
I found it very convenient. I don't like carrying around the card because I feel like then I have to carry my wallet. Being able to just leave the stateroom with this was very convenient to me. So we're kind of on different pages with this one.
Yeah, I personally found this to be
I think
annoying.
this kind of just really bothered her that this kept, because it did like every single time she turned around, is like this thing was just like popping out on her, and it was kind of bugging her. I literally did not have that happen to me once. So I think that on top of, there's another gripe with this ship is that they constantly asked us, not our dining area, but every place we tried to get a drink, it was like, well, what refreshment package do you have? And it's like, well, scan it and find it out.
Yeah.
I was like, charge me if you need to charge me, don't charge me if you don't. But why are you asking me every time I ask for a drink? Just scan it. Like, they never asked us for a refreshment package on NCL. Like, what are you? And it's like, scan it. Just ring it up.
I don't know.
It was very weird. So, but I think that would have happened regardless of this. Like, if we gave them the card, I think they would have asked the same question. So, I think the main thing that she didn't like was the fact that this thing kept popping off.
I think I was annoyed by a lot of different aspects with this, and especially like, I think while you're on a vacation, you want to be able to relax and not think about things. And when you're constantly being like, well, what refreshment package do you have? And like, especially like day one, where I was like, I don't know, I like the non-alcoholic one. Well, which one did you get? I was like, I don't remember. Like, can't you look it up in your system? Like, I paid for this like 6+ months ago. I don't remember what I bought. Like, I just know that I'm allowed to have sodas, and I'm asking for a soda, and like, I don't know. I felt annoyed by that personally, but I felt like we were asked that like every time we went somewhere. And I got used to it eventually, but I think just the convenience of like, I feel like this should just be like almost color coded or something, and be like, oh, yours is brown, therefore you have the alcohol package, or oh, yours is white, therefore you have the refreshment package. I think Royal Caribbean could do better with that, personally.
Yeah, so if Royal Caribbean's listening, please stop asking us what refreshment package we have. If we give you something to scan, use it. Look it up. You're using the computer anyways.
Yeah.
So please fix that. But I would recommend, I would highly recommend getting this. It's totally worth the $10. Get back in the room if you don't like carrying around a card. Because I feel like I'd lose it I wear loose like gym shorts all the time, and I'd feel like it would fall out of my pocket. So this was highly recommended for me. Not so much for you.
Not so much for me. But I don't know, that was the last question. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about before we end our stateroom confessionals?
Boat.
No. It is a ship. I've learned my lesson. This is a ship that we are on. This is actually the second largest ship out of all of Royal Caribbean's. It's the second largest in the world currently. Yep. So.
Largest leaving Galveston?
No, in the world. According to Wikipedia, currently, as of February 2024, Harmony of the Seas is the second largest cruise ship in the world. So, fun fact for you. Well, I want to say thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, we really appreciate it. As always, if you have any questions or comments, concerns, anything like that, drop them in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer.
Subscribe.
And subscribe if you like our channel. We will be doing more cruise kind of things. We'll have a whole, I don't know, a whole series about this cruise in particular. Yep. So, and we also have a whole series about our first cruise that we did, which was that NCL cruise last year. So,
and I deserve 0 credit for these videos. It's all Hallian doing this work. So
he just appears sometimes.
Yeah, it's her. But she's gonna be able to put together a pretty cool video, I think, from what we caught for like the tour of the ship.
I love this man, but he's frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
So forgive me, you guys. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next video.